Now, question of the day, find the question. We read the question very carefully. Find the magnitude of frictional force and acceleration of the block. So our target, what about frictional force and acceleration of the block? Clear? This block 5 kg. So how can do? Basically, how can find frictional force and acceleration of the block? Okay, look. If you see very carefully, make free body diagram of 5 kg first of all. mg always work on downward. So you can represent here weight always downward mg. Okay, and frictional force work in this direction and normal force by wall in this direction. Okay, so here mg means 5 into g. Okay, normal force that is n1 by wall and frictional force, look f, represent like upward direction. Okay, now n1 this be equal to, clear, because this wall is not moving, so n1 this be equal to how much? 500 newton, because of net force along x-axis is how much? 0. Okay, now after that, this movement, first of all, this one is moving or not decided by frictional force. So what about n1? N1 is 500 newton. So frictional force F, fl, limiting friction is how much? Mu s into n1. Mu s is how much? 0.4. So 0.4 into 500. So what about that value? Simply 200 newton. Clear? So limiting friction is how much? 200 newton. Now this block is moving or not decided by which force? Applied force is how much? Basically downward force is how much? 5 into g. G is, if simplicity point of view taken, 10 or 9.8. Okay, if you consider 9.8. So what about that value? 5 into 9.8, 44, 49. So 49 Newton downward. So 49 Newton, basically here 49 Newton downward. Clear? And limiting friction is how much? 200. It means this block is not moving downward direction. Clear? So what about acceleration of the block? 0. Okay, acceleration of the block is how much? 0, because net force in y direction is 0, that's why. Okay, no movement in y direction. Next question rise, net acceleration is 0. Okay, so acceleration of the block is 0. Now next target, what about frictional force? So first of all, this block is weight here working downwards, so how much? 49 Newton. Okay, now what about here force? Simply applied force, if block is not moving, so applied force minus frictional force, this will be equal to how much? Mass into acceleration. Mass acceleration is 0, so f this will be equal to capital F, and capital F at that time how much? 49 Newton. If you take in 10 g, this will be equal to 10, then this one is 50 Newton. So which option is correct? Option D. If you consider g this will be equal to 10 meter per second square, then option is B. Clear? Because of we got 50 Newton and acceleration of the block is 0. I also understand.